Once there was a village on the edge of a straight pine forest, well north of mechanical innovation. It was customary in those lands each summer that couples planning marriage would present a wedding gift to the region's prince, who in turn would bestow a dowry according to his favor. The prince was notoriously capricious, granting wondrous riches or useless scraps based on internal logic only he seemed to understand.
The people buzzed with anticipation each year around Presentation Day. The summer festival was planned around its arrival, with livestock drove in from the far hill lands, traveling musicians visiting from the neighbor states, and exotic songbirds brought for sale from across the sea. Couples would plan for months or even years in advance of their nuptial announcements a gift they hoped would sway the favor of their prince. Nearly all the town's most prominent members had acquired their status from simple reception of the prince's blessing. And while few citizens could be considered poor, the thirst for riches and favor the prince developed among his subjects was great.
Included in the year's couples was a pairing named Gertrude and Jasper. Jasper was a shepherd of modest means towards the edge of the county, tending sheep and goats for their wool and milk. Gertrude helped with the shearing and animal care at home, joining Jasper on his trips to the back fields to hunt for truffles in the forest. They had lived this way for many years in blissful coexistence, until one fateful day when Gertrude discovered a truffle the size of Jasper's head on one of their trips abroad. Jasper was so overwhelmed with excitement at the discovery, he exclaimed, "Marry me," on the spot, startling Gertrude, but not shocking her.
The thought of formal union grew on them in the days to come, and before returning from pasture, they agreed to pledge love to each other. Both Gertrude and Jasper hated the prince's practice of capriciously granting riches to the country's newlyweds. Nevertheless, all marriages required formal pronouncement to be recognized by the crown, and the prince had eliminated all alternative means of promulgation. A gift must be offered, and one in turn extended.
At last, Presentation Day arrived in all its majesty. The state's citizens, peasants and gentry alike, gathered in the town square, made grander by an ornately carved oak dais lifting the prince and his coterie above the crowds. A second dais, carved to look like an old, gnarled stump, sat in the crowd's center, serving as a platform for couples to present their gifts.
The first couple made their way through the crowds, young and fair to behold. The young man bore a large wooden cask with great effort, breathing with relief as he set it down on the plinth. Upon collecting himself, he began.
"This, my lord, is a batch of dandelion wine my lover and I made in your honor. The dandelion is a flower dear to our relationship. It was the first gift I ever gave to my beloved, and it will rest as a garland on her head the day of our union. Please accept this gift, as you favor, in celebration of our marriage."
A broad cheer went up among the festival goers in praise of the romantic gesture. When the din subsided, the prince spoke.
"Well done and well received from two so well budded. Your love is eager and will prove a tremendous blessing to these lands. Our best winters are unquestionably in the southern region, if my tastes serve as standard. Therefore, I grant you 3 acres of virgin forest to start a fledgling vineyard. Just be sure to have the wine prepared at all times for my visit."
The couple left the dais beside themselves with joy, returning to the loving embrace of the raucous and festive crowd. Quickly, another couple followed them, dressed in clean field clothes and humble in manner. They each carried a large burlap sack of 40 pounds, evenly filled and sewn at the top with twine.
"My lord, we present to you a special blend of fertilizer derived from years of experimentation. The secret is its use of eggshells provided by my love and her family, who breed the finest chickens in the county. With this fertilizer, we've doubled the production of their feed crops with no greater land use. We hope to share this advancement with all the farmers in the land, starting with your own holdings first. Please accept this gift, as you favor, in celebration of our marriage."
The couple's presentation was met with respectful applause from the crowd. The prince let the crowd's recognition decline to silence, then lengthened the moment as he contemplated the contents of his chalice. Finally, he spoke.
"You must be very confident in your handiwork to present such a thing as fertilizer to a prince. Since you see it fit to give me garbage, I will respond with my own. Go to the palace tomorrow and instruct the guards to let you look through our refuse. By day's end, if you're lucky, my new gifts will leave some old possessions expendable. The state will take your soil advancement into consideration. Happy wedding.
The crowd mocked and jeered the couple as they retreated from the stand and out of the square, much to the prince's amusement. It was in this environment that Gertrude and Jasper approached the square's center. In his hand, Jasper held his shepherd's staff and nothing more. Gertrude carried nothing.
What now do we have before us?
The prince asked richly.
The pair had agreed in advance that Gertrude would do all the talking, as she was better in front of crowds.
My lord, this staff my partner Jasper holds marks his trade as shepherd in these lands. Together we range the countryside, with him tending the flocks and me searching the forest for truffles to sell at market. We've grown quite fond of the staff. In our first year, I picked the sycamore tree from which Jasper lovingly crafted it. In our third year, he used it to defend our lives from a lone wolf in the hinterlands. In our fifth year, it provided support as we explored the lands over the mountains. We use it to correct errant behavior in the flock. We use it to test the depth of muck before we step in it. On its shaft, we mark our seasons in notches to remind us of our growth. In these many ways, the staff serves for us as a reminder of the patience, bravery, and strength necessary to love each other properly. With its presence above the hearth and on every step from home, I can admire it, hold it, and remember how much Jasper means to me. This I submit, as you favor, in celebration of our marriage.
At her conclusion, the assembled citizens burst into raptured outcries of praise. Trumpets blew in the street, and chants of "Jasper, Jasper" could clearly be heard in the air. And just when enthusiasm seemed to reach peak, they redoubled when the prince himself rose from his throne to applaud Gertrude's speech.
Settling the crowd with his gestures, the prince addressed the gathered.
In all the presentation days of my reign, no wife has moved me more in her speech than our fair Gertrude. What she described is the basis for all strong unions, provided in a package so simple as to render it effortlessly elegant. It will be displayed as my most prized symbol of love among all my invaluables. Name anything within reason of my valued possessions, and it shall be yours in exchange.
A murmur of excitement went through the crowd as they searched their collective memory, for no one recalled the prince ever providing an open invitation to his massive pool of wealth. Speculation abounded. Would they choose one of the crown's many summer villas? Perhaps a team of hounds from the hunting stables? Or maybe even a tidal ship and a stretch of land to lord over?
Gertrude waited for the whispers to settle.
Thank you, my lord, for such a generous offer in exchange for our staff. It is indeed as invaluable as you suggest, but I must beg sincere forgiveness at your confusion, for it was the story of our staff that was our gift to you, not the staff itself. That will remain with us as we travel through life.
Gasps and commotion roiled the crowd to the brim as all waited for the prince's response.
He had never encountered such a circumstance.
And you, Jasper, you would let your wife turn down such an opportunity?
The crowd suspended itself in silence as Jasper issued a reply.
Oh, we got truffle money now. We're going to the islands.
Jasper grabbed his fiancée at the waist and kissed her deeply, sending the assembled into rapturous cheers. The prince knew better than to oppose the reaction of such a large crowd and handled the moment with wine.
Kiss enjoyed, Jasper rapped his staff twice on the stump for punctuation and walked off hand in hand with Gertrude. Those present would later claim the sound shook the whole square, but that's the talk that only comes with legends.